All right, let's go ahead and start on chapter 2 about Sally Ride, science and sports. Sally was naturally smart and athletic. Her blue eyes sparkled with determination, fascination, and charm throughout her life. You can see right there, looks like she's in the window looking through a telescope. On top of that, from a very young age, Sally was fascinated by science. To help foster her interest, her parents got her a chemistry set as well as a subscription to Scientific American magazine when she was in elementary school, which she would read from cover to cover. They also bought her a telescope. Through that lens, Sally would marvel at the complexities of the moon, planets, and stars. Orion was her favorite constellation. Sally loved to learn new things when inspiration struck, but she wasn't always the best student, despite being so smart and skipping fifth grade for high test scores. Oftentimes, she would put off her homework or studying for tests until the car ride to school. The best teachers knew how to motivate Sally's curiosity and open her mind to new things. Some teachers, on the other hand, would get eye rolls and see her obvious disinterest. Just like when she was a toddler, she let it be known what worked for her and what didn't. Sally's weekdays were spent at school and doing homework, but her weekends were all about tennis tournaments. She was quick on her feet, and her problem solving mind helped her on the court as much as her athleticism. By the time she made it to eighth grade, Sally was ranked number 20 in Southern California for girls ages 12 and under. This achievement got her a partial tennis scholarship her sophomore year to the famed private high school, Westlake School for Girls. This was the beginning of many doors opening for Sally and many dreams coming true, some of which she didn't even know she had yet. Through her high school years, Sally made friends that would last a lifetime. Her hardworking, cheerful, and dynamic personality was one that people wanted to be around. But Sally, still an introvert, preferred to keep her friends limited to those she felt most comfortable with. As the years went on, Sally fell more and more in love with science. Back then, even more than now, many people said that science was just for boys. Luckily, Sally was surrounded by encouraging parents and teachers who knew otherwise. The only exception was one of her English teachers who made her cry by stating that she was too science oriented and lacked creativity. The teacher said Sally had a mind that was wasted in science. Sally persisted and focused on the teachers who inspired her, though, especially Dr. Elizabeth Mommertz, her human physiology teacher. Dr. Mommertz was one of the few women to have her PhD in science at that time, and Sally was fascinated by her and her sharp brain. Sally would often bring her teacher intellectual puzzles and watch it in amazement as Dr. Mommertz solved them easily. She challenged me to be curious, ask questions, and think for myself, Sally would later write. Sally saw Dr. Mommertz as someone she wanted to model her own life after. While she was a senior, Sally became the captain of her high school's tennis team and continued playing in tournaments throughout the country. The lessons Sally learned on the court, especially the ones about controlling her emotions and keeping a cool head, were ones that would help her throughout life during intense situations. In particular, they were, sorry, it looked like something had goofed. In particular, they were lessons that would come in handy when she joined NASA. You can see a picture of her right here on the tennis court. Tennis taught me a lot about self control, she said later, self discipline. how to maintain a kind of relatively cool demeanor, even when you're winning or losing by a lot. In the spring of 1968, Sally graduated from Westlake and was on her way to college. She decided to attend Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania, where she had received a full scholarship. This decision had her hot from the sunny West Coast to the cool and often chilly East Coast. At Swarthmore, Sally focused her studies on physics. Despite people saying it was for men, she knew it was what she wanted to continue to learn about. She also played as the number one seed or top player for the school's tennis team and joined the basketball and field hockey teams as well. But even with all of that keeping her busy, things just didn't feel right there for Sally. She was homesick. And on top of that, Sally was thinking hard about her future. She decided to put her studies on the back burner to focus on tennis. Sally wanted to see whether she could make it as a professional tennis player. I had this very, very strong feeling that I had something in me that I hadn't really explored, she would later recall. Sally wondered whether she could pursue her tennis dream to its fullest extent and whether she was good enough to make it to the professional circuit. She knew she could not wait to find out. If I waited until after I graduated, I would likely be too late, she said later. And so, after thinking hard about the decision for several weeks, Sally called her parents and told them she wanted to come home.